Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Today I have a special guest on the channel. We have Bill Patel, who is a property developer based in Bedfordshire, and he's been developing property for the last 10 years. Let them know who you are and what you've been up to in property.
Cool. Hi, I'm Bill Patel. I've started a business about 10 years ago called I Occupy with two business partners. We've been buying little small HMO properties and developing them, and it's actually grown over the years, and now we're doing deals like you see behind, where we've got a student block of 80 bedrooms. So let's go inside, Deji. I'll show you around.
So we're now inside the development, and when we were going up, you mentioned that this development has 80 rooms.
Yes.
That's amazing. Now, just give us the rundown on the story of how many flats you have in here, what it used to be, what it currently is.
So we actually haven't changed anything much, really. There's 16 5-bed flats, so there's very standard student sort of layout. So we actually haven't done much. So a lot of it is we were trying to get a bit creative with what's already here, and you know, the 850 odd K that we spent here, you know, is buying 80 fridges, because we've got a fridge in each room. So like, you know, and that adds up. So you know, times everything by, you know, 80 rooms, 80 beds, you know, cupboards and wardrobes. So that all adds up. But we still have the same footprint and the same flats and layouts, so
no structural changes. Oh, no, that's great. And what's the cash flow like on this property?
So when we're at full occupancy, which we did have pre-COVID, at the moment we're down a little bit with COVID because of the airport that's affecting it, and the students. You know, most of the students aren't here. You know, so we're low at the moment, but you know, in normal circumstances, we'd expect to receive around 32,000 rent roll per month. We've got a mortgage of about 10k, costs of about 10k, so your gas, electricity, all your other overheads, and so we're looking to make a net profit of about 10k. But at the moment, as I said, the occupancy is rocky. We are working on getting that back, and it is slowly going back up, and with the airport opening back up and the students coming back next year, we are seeing the occupancy and the bookings coming back up. Yeah.
Brilliant. You know what's amazing? I used to come to this, it used to be called University Halls, this one specifically. So I used to come in here, see some friends, and looking at the total transformation, it's amazing. And one thing I've noticed, I've been watching your development since I've been at university, and your design and everything is always amazing. So talk to me about the process. I mean, in terms of the design, do you have an interior designer? What do you do? So
my brother is the head sort of designer as such. So he does the developments and leads the design. Now he's quite creative. He wanted to go off and do a different wacky design for every single project. And sort of James, my other business partner, and I we had to sit down and go, look, we need it to be almost like a repeatable model, but with tweaks that we can use. So we use a lot of dressing equipment to make almost the same canvas, a very neutral canvas that could be, you know, it's not male dominant, female dominant, too strong on the colours. We try to make it very neutral for the fact that someone can come in and put their own print on it, and colours, you know, and you'll see from some photos on our website, you know, what we do and how we do it, and you know, how we dress stuff.
Brilliant. So let's rewind back to the beginning. How did you get into property? What's the journey been like?
So first property we bought was 2007. It was up in Lincoln. And my brother was working up there. He was in the RAF, and I was an electrical contractor. And we bought that property, and it's a 6-bed. No, it was a 5-bed HMO, and we turned it into a 6-bed. We rented out all the rooms. So that was our first investment property, which we've still got today. And funny enough, we just leased that out to someone, a bit like rent to rent, what you do, Deji. So we've leased it to someone up there for £1,000 a month. he deals with all the tenants, all the maintenance, pretty much everything, and he's got a similar business to what we have down here, but and we don't hear from it. We just get the money, which is great for us. So that was our first deal, but it didn't start off like that. We probably messed around, didn't really have it properly managed at the start, didn't take it seriously, lost money over the first 5 years, I think, because we weren't really fully in property. It wasn't. We bought it as a sort of side thing. And then I think it was 2010, which we went to a progressive property.
Okay.
That's where it all started.
So education is key for you, or what do you think?
For me, I think at the event we didn't necessarily. I think the good thing for us was that we had a light bulb moment where it was like, right, we should be really going hard at it. This is what we should be doing. That was what I got out of the event. Everyone gets something different. So some people might learn some more, things about the property, business and stuff like that. I think the main thing that I took from it was that, right, you can do this, get on with it, sort of thing. So that's what it took. And then, so I sold up to my business partner at the time when I had a property, I had an electrical contracting business.
Okay.
So got out of that and then just full-time in property. And that's been now 10 years since we started iOccupy back in 2011.
Wow.
So and we started our first deal. We found the deal, got an investor on board, developed it, refinanced, paid back the investor, and essentially that's been our model ever since, working with investors.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What's your total GDV up to date on things you've done and what you've got in the pipeline?
The whole portfolio.
Yeah.
We're knocking on about 15 million.
15 million.
Yeah.
Amazing. Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Congrats to you.
Yeah, thanks.
That's amazing.
Thanks.
So you've got yourself educated. You felt, you've learned that this is the way forward.
Yeah.
You've gone on and you started with residential dwellings, specifically HMOs, right? Yeah. So obviously that's how I heard about iOccupy.
Yeah.
I came past your office. I thought you were just a letting agency, but you did have a letting agency as well, didn't you?
Yes.
That's amazing. So you did that. You were focusing on HMOs. So talk me through that journey and then moving on to developments.
So when we started, we managed all the properties ourselves, and we had an agency, and that literally, COVID was like really a realisation for us as directors, myself and the two business partners, that actually we don't want to do the management side of things. We're passionate about the asset side and the building and the properties and and making nice environments for people to live in. But the management side is none of us really wanted to leave that. So the realisation last year in the thick of COVID was, right, do we keep this this property management business, or and get a manager in, like a director that wants to run it all and do a real good job of it, or do we partner with an agency? And we ended up going for partnering with an agency. So pretty much closed that down, and that's actually really gave me my time back. It's been a good decision from a high level for us. We didn't have to make anyone redundant because a few of the staff left anyway at that time, when we had a few agency staff, so we were transitioning anyway, so actually didn't have any hard conversations with any of the staff or anything, so that worked. And sometimes things are meant to be, and it was almost pushing us to say, right, you need to do this. So the management side, that was that. HMOs, we started buying 3-bed houses, converting them into 6-bed HMOs. That's how we started. Then the market really shot up, sort of 6 years in, and the numbers didn't quite work for us anymore. We were really struggling, and we didn't know what to do for maybe a year and a half, and we didn't, I think in hindsight, we didn't switch quick enough. So this deal came along. We were working on this the whole time, but was it ever going to be a deal? We just kept getting all these barriers, and we just kept at it, persistent, and eventually we done this deal, which was the next one, and now we're on to a 37-unit apart hotel with a commercial ground space, which is literally a stone's throw. You've seen from here.
And what's the GDV on that one?
We're hoping for around sort of 5.5 million. It's quite variable at the moment because we're looking at different types of leases. So our plan with that is to lease it to a service provider at the end. That lease amount obviously hugely determines what the value is, and we're in talks with the planning. So if we get a certain type of planning with it, means the lease could be more, which ends up the value being more, obviously. So it's more valuable. So, and we'll be looking for a really long 30-year lease on that. So.
Brilliant, brilliant. So when you first started earlier in the journey, your first 2-3 years, talk to us about some of the hurdles. Where did you make the biggest mistakes? What cost you financially, you know?
Yeah, so there's, I mean, I call them school fees. So there's lots of school fees. So rewind right to the start, after we done this progressive stuff, we thought, right, lease options is a good way to get in, because we thought, right, we can pick up quite a lot of property quite quickly, control it, and get some cash flow going, you know, straight away. We went hard on that for 6 months. I think we had a mentor at the time as well, you know, and nothing really came of it. You know, we did push, we done the phone calls, done everything, and sometimes I think either it can be area specific that, you know, certain sort of methods and things work, or just, you know, funny enough, this was a type of lease option when you think about it, this property, because, you know, we've done a long stop completion, which is a sort of option in a way, you know, not quite that we could walk away, but it was an exchange with delayed completion. So it was a creative sort of thing, and you pick up these strategies along the way. So that didn't work, but eventually a deal came up, and it was through James, now our business partner. His money was tied up in the deal he was doing separately. We said, right, why don't we joint venture? So we put some money up, investor put some money up as well. We done that first deal, which was on London Road, not too far away.
Seen that one.
And then from there we said, oh, we both want to do the same thing. Why don't we start a business, partner up? And then I was sort of created. We never thought, oh, let's do that. It sort of evolved into that over the first couple of years. And then we just kept, and you know, over the years, then we've just carried on growing the portfolio, going, you know, as hard as we could, really, basically, to build it.
Amazing. So, one of the most important things that people want to know when first starting out is raising finance, dealing with investors. How was it for you, and what advice would you give? Because now, I think a lot of people tend to use social media, but I don't know how much of social media you use. So, what was your experience, and what advice would you give?
So, you know, looking at our database of people that have lent us money, you know, and you know, we've got a couple of million, you know, at the moment that we still work with investors that are invested in deals and stuff. So I think the main thing I would say, if you're looking at all of that, a lot of them have come through friends and family and referrals. So let everyone know what you're doing, but not I'm just doing property. Actually, I deal with investors. You know, people, it doesn't automatically click that that's what you're doing. So you need to tell everyone and everyone that's what you're doing to start off with. So that's the majority of our investors have come through that. But we've done a bit of networking where we've had investors that we still have now through networking. And funny enough, the first investor on the first deal that we ever done on London Road, he put up the money for the purchase, and that was 50k. You know, so 250k. We've been networking for, you know, I want to say a year. You know, really hard. This is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. Loads of, and this deal came up, and I got on the phone, and I think he was maybe the 5th person I called, and he said, "Yeah, I can do that." Then he come down and have a look, and then we took it from there. And that was the first one. And I think it's sort of like, you know, I don't know, just breaking the seal. You know, you use that first investor, and it was a huge learning curve, and we paid a lot more interest than we would pay now, because obviously we were beginners, it was higher risk for him. Now we're a lot lower risk investment because we know what we're doing. We've done it, you know, 100 times before. So I think it's just jumping in feet first, but letting everyone know that. I mean, social media, I've used it directly to gain an investor per se. I think with COVID and not being able to network and get yourself out there, I think it's probably an important platform to use. But we've got, the good thing is we've got a reputation now that we've built up over the years. But I would say one bit of advice, don't be afraid. You know, if you're confident in the deal, the investor will assess that as well. And if the deal's good enough and you've done your job properly, it should be something that they want to invest in. It shouldn't be an issue. So that's sort of the advice I'd give.
Right, so one thing I noticed is, okay, you've raised finance, what you were giving back your investors were a bit high. Obviously, you made a few mistakes here and there. Do you think, for someone starting out today, they need to get themselves educated and also mentorship? Do you think that's key, or it's not necessarily?
I think And I think it's all good. They have their places and they have their timings. So, for example, we got educated. Then I think when we got educated and we done a course, I think the most I learned was actually through the networking and speaking to people, then calling up afterwards. So I'd go to a networking event, I'd speak to like 10 people, get their cards, and if someone was, you know, I'd always go with maybe 5 questions to that networking event, and there's always someone that can answer that question. And that was the big learning curve for us, you know, really getting it, oh, you're doing commercial property, what about this, this, because I haven't done that before. And then, and you meet people there, and that's for us where, you know, we've got a lot of knowledge. It wasn't necessarily paying for a course. You know, it's only a few quid to go to a networking event, and that was really invaluable. Of just, you know, networking once a week. It was, you know, almost every week, going to a different event, you know, and driving there wherever it was, you know, within a certain radius. So that was that, and then the mentorship we did, you know, have at the start, and we went through that process for 6 months. And I think it was good growing process. You know, I think then you need to find your next mentor and step up. And it's something that I think a mentor is different to a business coach, because we did use a business coach for 5 years. A mentor's been there, done it. You know, got the shirt, and you're going in the direction that you want to go. Where your mentor is. Business coach that we use very much coaches you on yourself and dealing with different businesses. I mean, it's very business general. So they have a very different perspective, and I think both of those two have places, and they've helped us out massively over the years, you know, with just little questioning things, you know. So that's, I'd say they're good and they have their place, and sometimes it's not always needed. Sometimes people don't realise they have the knowledge and they just need a kick up the arse and they need to do the action. They don't need another mentor, you know, sometimes, and a lot of people end up going round and round and, you know, spending so much money on all these courses and stuff, and they don't need it. So it's getting a fine balance and knowing when you need the mentorship, or you need a bit of guidance, or you're feeling a bit lost, between the action and actually doing, you know, they're two different things. Amazing.
So Bill, honestly, your journey, your experience has been amazing, but have you ever thought about mentoring and training people who want to get into property?
Yeah, in the past we've done tours, let's say, around our developments and stuff, and we may do some in the future as well, because we've got the big commercial one coming up. So yeah, that's something I've considered and may well do in the future.
Right, yeah, no, honestly, because I mean, as I said, watching your HMOs for the past how many years, honestly, they've been amazing. And even me, when I first started out looking at HMOs, I probably usually go on your website, get some inspiration, and honestly, they've been great. So I think people will definitely benefit from some of the products that you offer.
Thanks.
Final question is, what piece of advice, or more than one, would you give to someone who is just starting out in property or wants to get into property?
First thing that pops to mind is just take action. You have to, you can get all this knowledge and find all this stuff out and sit at home, you know, looking at Rightmove and all these other things that you can do. But without picking up the phone, speaking to the agents, you know, networking, speaking to other investors, other people that are in the business, it's just take as much action as you can, and, you know, carve out as much time as you can to invest in it and really go for it. You know, that's where we are, is because we wanted to do it so badly. And, you know, there's lots of other things in the mix there with, have you got the right why, you know, we're doing it for the right reasons, and all these other things that, you know, like a business coach or someone like that can help you out with. But the main thing is you know, taking action.
Taking action. So action is key when investing in property. So where can we find you? Are you on Instagram, Facebook? If people want to follow your property journey and your business, where can we find you?
So I'm on Instagram, Bill Patel 01. So you can find me on Insta. I Occupy is obviously the business and the brand. So that's www.ioccupy.co.uk. We have got an Insta page, but we're not pushing it anymore really, because we're doing bits on the letting side and the investment side, but we're not hugely pushing that anymore, so there's probably not much activity on that. But the website as well, you know, we're probably going to evolve that website just to be on an investor side, because we're not got the letting side of the business anymore. So people will still be able to get in and navigate around that site, but you can. That's something good that people can have a look and see what we've done, you know, on our website. So if you just Google I-Occupy, and there's lots of other videos and things that we've posted up on YouTube and tips for other investors starting out, things like that. There's quite a fair bit out there. So.
Brilliant. You know, I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you one question. You have a development that you've just completed that we were just talking about, King Street.
Yes.
I think I've seen the images, the development is amazing. I just want you to just briefly talk through that deal with us. I'll try and get some images displayed of what it looks like, but that deal, I mean, the images is amazing. So let us know what's in the development and the purchase price, end value.
Yeah, so, that's casting my mind back, the purchase price. I think we paid, we bought two next to each other.
Right.
So two buildings next to each other, they're quite large. And we didn't actually change too much internally. So I think we bought it for $850. We spent $250 on it, and it was valued in the end of around 1.3, 1.4. So I mean, it's not our most fantastic deal from the numbers, but it does as well. It's going to do us well on the capital growth. So a lot of the time where we've refinanced at the end of a build, we use an investor to top up, if we're short, and leave money in. We'll get an investor involved, and they take a set return, and that then does us until the capital growth kicks in, and we can pay that, refinance and pay the investor off. So that's our strategy longer term, with buildings like that. So that one, so there's a bit of a there's 9 suites on the ground floor and basement. We've got a 6-bed HMO up one side. We've got a 1-bed flat and a 3-bed flat on the other side. So it's like a bit of.
That's amazing.
But it's a Victorian terrace, so quite beautiful. We've got some nice features in there, and you'll be able to see it on the website. And as you said, or you can chuck a couple of photos in the video. Just see what it's like. But that does us really well, and is always occupied. Just town centre location. It's a beautiful building. So that was one of our good deals. It did take a little while to develop that one. We've done a joint venture with the builder, and initially he was going to fund the build, but I think he realised he couldn't do that, and then, so we got a little bit turned around halfway through the development. I can't fund it. Oh right, so we've got to find another 250 grand. Okay, right, that's a bit last minute. So these things happen along the way, but we've finished it, done it, refinanced, and it's cash flowing now. So.
That's amazing. Bill,
thank
you very much for being on the channel today. I hope you found the information from Bill useful. If you found it useful, hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel to get similar content, and also hit the notification button to stay updated on all of our upcoming videos.